Hey everybody, welcome back to The Hunt. I'm Trish and really excited to introduce my next guest to you. This is such an amazing topic. His name is Jain, and he is the founder and CEO of Sun Genomics, and we are going to dive into what exactly that means and how to pronounce it correctly. So Sunny, welcome to the show.
Oh, thanks so much for having me, Trish.
Yeah, no, my pleasure. So did I say it right? Sun Genomics?
Sun Genomics,
okay,
yeah,
perfect.
you got it.
All right, so this is all about probiotic health, gut health, right?
Yep, keeping those microbes that are living inside of us healthy keeps us healthy.
Okay, so let's start there just so the audience can understand what we're going to talk about here for a minute, and then we'll get into some other things. But why is that so important? Why is gut health so important?
Well, up until the last 20 years, we all kind of viewed our own health as just our own cells. Okay, if we keep our cells healthy, then we're keeping our physiology healthy, and that's all we need to do. But now research has shown that we are not alone. We actually are symbiont organisms, meaning that we have another organism that is dependent upon us and we're dependent upon them. And these organisms are the microbes that are living on and inside of our body.
And that's scary, I think, for some people. But I remember, like as a kid, hearing that almost like, oh, there's stuff on your skin or things in your gut, and it's like when you think about it in that context, you're like, ew. But if you really dive into it, it's such a good thing.
Absolutely. Right? It's more cells that can generate something beneficial to you.
Right.
And that's the term probiotic, an organism that generates some benefit to you as the human host. And if we can understand these cells in detail and unearth some of the science that's being published in the literature, we can actually empower our own bodies to perform better than they are today.
Which I think all of us are trying to accomplish, at the end of the day, is how do I feel better and be better?
Exactly. Right? I mean, we all have those days that we're a little bit off or not getting enough sleep or feeling bloated or discomfort. Even gut-brain axis and mood are now associated with one another. 90% of the serotonin is actually produced in the intestinal tract through the gut enteric nervous system.
That is fascinating, actually. So you, let's just back up for a second. So you were in corporate America, I would say, right?
Yeah, I used to work for Illumina and LabCorp and some of these larger corporations before starting Sun Genomics.
Before you became a data, how did you say it?
Dadpreneur, yeah, dad and an
entrepreneur. So let's talk to everyone about why you created your company.
Yeah, it was 2016, and my son was having gut health issues. So he wasn't much older than about 6 months when we started to observe noticeable pain and issues with the GI system. Okay. Yeah, just real issues with the GI system, and you can see it in babies poop. It's pretty obvious.
Yeah, I've got 3 myself, and it's funny how you just remember those things. Mine are much older now, but
and the first thing you do is you call the doctor and you say, Doc, look at this, like something's happening here.
Absolutely.
And gut health for infants is a relatively new field of research and understanding, and maybe not something taught in medical schools. And we're trying to convey the symptoms that our child is having to the doctor, and it kind of falls under these categories of colicky or discomfort. Right. But we as parents saw that there was something different about this situation, and we wanted to do something. Too young for therapeutics and drugs. You don't want to give an infant child those types of medications. So we kept pushing the doctor, and the doctor said, okay, why don't you try a probiotic? And I hadn't read too much about probiotics at the time, but
that's pretty forward thinking, actually, right? Because wouldn't they normally say, switch baby formulas or breast milk or something, like wouldn't they start there?
Yeah, exactly. You would think they would try to look at the nutritional paradigm a little bit, and we did go through a lot of that, and we got introduced to some very nice European supplement formulas and very clean formulations, and we started to put him on some of those things, which helped a little bit. but it still didn't solve the issue. And he was kind of, when you see your son in pain, you really take it upon yourself to
I know, it's heartbreaking. I mean,
figure
there's
out
just these little things that can't communicate. you know.
he was like ducking in the corner and
Yeah.
hiding.
And then you start to worry too, are they getting enough nutrition? Right, especially like at that young. So you just put one foot in front of the other, and obviously you have a scientific background, so that's helpful, in these conversations, right?
Yeah, it kind of came full circle. I have a
Yeah.
background in microbiology and genomics, and so this was, getting a probiotic from the store seemed like something I could do as a dad. That's something I can go and figure out.
There's so many things to talk to you about, because on one hand, it's like the whole mentality of becoming an entrepreneur, and how do you create this product? How do you go from seeing your son, your baby infant son, with a gut issue, and then all of a sudden having a company? And then there's also just like the health side of it, right? So you start talking to the doctors, and then what was the next step in? Well, I can't find what I want on the market, so I'm just going to create my own.
Yeah, I mean, that was the thought process that eventually I kind of got to, but the first thing that started it was standing in front of that natural food store aisle. You have the refrigerated section of probiotics, and then you have the non-refrigerated section of probiotics. You've got cute babies on the bottles, you've got drops. Just trying to decipher that information from like a more scientific perspective, it wasn't making sense. Like, why is this bifidobacteria infantis strain better than this Anomalous strain? And
so did you go right in and give your son something, or did you do the research first before you decided to supplement?
Yeah, my scientist brain kicked in. I wasn't able to give my son something off the shelf without doing further research. So I pulled a bunch of products off the shelf. I went to a lab and I started testing the products, seeing if they survive the gastric system, the stomach acid, to get to the intestinal tract. Do DNA verification, actually identify the organisms. Are they the ones that are actually on the bottle? Because I want to make sure I give my baby the most beneficial strains.
Right.
And then figure out where they're coming from and find those manufacturers and who are making the best probiotics, who are making the strains that are really making an impact clinically, and source those. And then analyze my son's stool and take a look at that. And we ran different tests, like a low resolution test like 16S, and then a high resolution test.
For those of you at home, what's the layman term for 16S?
16S is kind of like looking at a small region of the information you need to look at. It's like a snapshot, but only looking at that small region. There's another technology called metagenomics. Metagenomics looks at the entire microbiome genome. So you get the full detail, and it's I kind of
so
liken that to
so
rabbit
ear TV.
Progress.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And it was eye-opening. It was like the most incredible data I had ever looked at as a scientist. I saw hundreds, if not almost 1,000 unique organisms in my son's microbiome, and there were
motivated you just to say, oh my gosh, we have to give him more of this, or create something new, or how did that all happen?
Well, one stood out. One organism was this inflammatory microbe. So we're now no longer in this mutualistic, commensal, good for you gut microbiome. We're now in this parasitic, causing inflammation, not good for you microbiome. And so that's where I wanted to take some action.
Where can we all sign up, right? I mean, it just makes you want to check your own health and see where the causes and the pains are. But before we go down that path, so did you finally came to a good conclusion for your son, and through the products you were finding, or?
Yeah, so we sourced all these probiotic strains that would outcompete some of the bad organisms of the gut, kind of quench all the nutrients so the bad organisms don't have anything to feed on.
Okay.
And I retested his stool, and it dropped the inflammatory microbe. Now, this is an N of one story, right? And as you were talking about, like, how do you actually make this a business? This was just the solution for my son, and it took maybe $30,000 and 8 months of my life to try to kind of figure out. But today, you can do that for $79 a month on the website, and you can sign up, and it turns around in 2 weeks. I mean, we scaled the whole operation out. Every formula is unique based off the gut microbiome. And there are amazing testimonials on Trustpilot and Google reviews to really show how this product is working.
That is amazing. I mean, because obviously you say, oh my God, I'm helping my son. How many other people can I help? And then boom, you know, another idea, another idea. You are listening to Sunny Jain. He is the CEO and founder of Sun Genomics. You're watching The Hunt. We're going to be back in a few minutes, so don't go anywhere. We have a lot more to talk about with you. Such just interesting stuff, and I think the audience is going to love the next set of topics here. Be back in a minute.